Every season, one of the marquee matchups in the Ivy League is Harvard versus Dartmouth, and this year is no exception. The 15th-ranked Crimson are one of just 6 unbeaten teams remaining in the FCS and have the inside track for the league's auto bid to the postseason. But the Big Green are just a game off the pace and are coming off their most lopsided win in 12 years. The two schools with the most Ivy League championships in the trophy case go at it once again with title implications on the line. It's Harvard and Dartmouth, next on ESPN+. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Tim Murphy Field at Harvard Stadium. Alongside Tim Murphy and Amanda Keene down on the sideline, I'm Alex Vispoli. Well, these are the top two teams, you could argue, in the Ivy League with a combined record of 11-1 at this point in the season. Harvard's coming off a 21-point win at Princeton last week, and Dartmouth a 49-3 thrashing against Columbia. Coach, these teams often so similar, and these games are so stressful and dramatic.
Indeed, it's hard to believe from 2004 to 2017, Harvard won, I believe, 14 consecutive games. When Buddy Tevens came back for his second stint, that's changed dramatically, and Coach McCorkle was a big part of that.
Digging a little bit deeper into this matchup, a lot has been said about Harvard's quarterback this season, but Dartmouth's Grayson Saunier has shown himself to be an elite signal caller as well.
As you know, in modern football, you go as your quarterback goes, and Harvard and Dartmouth are great examples of that. We've talked a great deal about Jaden Craig, one of the top quarterbacks in the country. Well, Grayson Saunier has a very similar skill set, big, strong, athletic, savvy, has the ability to extend plays, and will be a huge part of the Dartmouth offense today.
And last week, Harvard ratcheted up its running game with lead tailback Exavea Bascon driving the bus with his first career 100-yard game.
Harvard's offense, it all starts with Jaden Craig, but it's a balanced offense, and running back Exavea Bascon is a huge part of that. He's sneaky strong, has a great feel for setting up blocks, and by the way, went to the same high school as my wife, Martha, so I had to get that in.
Smart man. These two teams, they boast the two top offenses in the Ivy League and two of the top defenses in the country. What do you think becomes the biggest difference maker in a game like this where the teams are so similar?
Well, I think both teams are going to move the ball. I also don't think it's going to be a 40-39 game. I think it's going to be one of those games where Dartmouth tries to stay on the field. They're not an up-tempo team, but they've obviously found ways to score. You've got two good defenses, two good offense. Something's got to give. So for them, I think it's going to be what you do in the red zone and making sure that you protect the football.
And the invisible factor on a day like today could be the weather. It's a very pleasant 56 degrees, but it has been extremely windy here this afternoon, and it's expected to be all day. Huge gusts. We saw typical Harvard Stadium flags blowing in different directions at times in pregame, and we'll see if that is a factor as the day goes on. You can see the flag very active here this afternoon as we get set for a 3 o'clock start. Dartmouth won the opening coin toss. They elected to defer, so Harvard will receive the kickoff coming from the Big Green, who are known for their outstanding special teams prowess. You mentioned Sammy McCorkle. He is a special teams ace. That's what he was in his playing days at the University of Florida. As Matisse Weaver will get things ready to go with his opening kickoff. The Crimson will have Jordan Harris deep to receive, and the kick will come bouncing to him at the 4-yard line. Harris, a lot of room to run. He'll shake off one man and burst his way out just shy of the 30-yard line. Good run back for the running back, Harris. And now we'll see the Harvard offense led by Jaden Craig, the senior from Montclair, New Jersey, coming out onto the field. A Phil Steele midseason All-American. He's leading the way in almost every offensive quarterback category as far as throwing the football this season. And number one for the Crimson in his penultimate home regular season game will line up in the shotgun to start off this drive. He's got Exavea Bascon to his right. Bascon in motion, and Craig to the air. First play of the game. It's caught and completed short of the sticks, close to the 37-yard line, to one of his big targets in Dean Boyd.
Yeah, Dean Boyd's done a great job this year. Harvard came out in a very, very multiple set. Nobody in the backfield, and unless the quarterback was going to run, you knew that ball was going to come out hot and fast.
Dartmouth so good against the run as far as their defense. They are 16th in the nation in rush defense, 42nd in the country in pass defense. And to the air once again, it's to the Saskatchewan native Brady Blackburn, and he's got enough for a first down just out across the 40-yard line. So coming out firing on 2nd and short, 2 for 2 for Craig. Given what I just mentioned, as we take a look at one of the key defensive players, Thaddeus Generis, a senior linebacker from Illinois, coming off a big game last week. He's had sacks in 4 games this season. Probably no surprise that Harvard is going to the air here early on.
Yeah, they're going to establish the pass, and then they'll run the football.
Craig on a fresh set of downs will find the hands of Henry, but it bounces off his wide receiver's mitts. The senior wide receiver from Texas, Cam Henry. You don't see too many drops in this Harvard receiving corps. They have been so steady for a team that had to replace so much. And take a look at the keys to victory today for Harvard, Coach. What do you have in mind?
Well, I think the key is when you get in the red zone, you've got to convert. Obviously, you want to move the ball and make sure that you're not putting your defense in any type of bad situations.
A pitch play to Harris. It's well blocked, and Harris will bounce it to the outside, but that Dartmouth defense comes swarming. Patrick Campbell was the first one to get there, the senior from Snellville, Georgia. This is a Dartmouth defense, Coach, that is not exotic, but they do their job so well that makes them so effective.
Yeah, what you're seeing from Harvard thus far, very early stages of the game, is they're working on a perimeter, and they don't necessarily feel comfortable just yet, just running it up right down their throat.
You can see what Coach has tapped into for the keys for Dartmouth today. As on 3rd and 5, Craig will tuck it, and he will get past the man and get the yard to gain. Right at midfield, that's where he needed to reach. That play looked like it was dead in the water a couple of times, but Jaden Craig, the magic act to get the first down.
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. You got to be a dual threat quarterback. He certainly is that. I think he's sneaky fast, and great job. Well covered, and he still extends the play and gets the first down.
When we talked to Harvard offensive coordinator Mickey Fine, he said, we're getting to that point in the season where we are showing more willingness to run with Craig. We're not as worried about taking those early hits and having them add up. Completes this to Henry, a little tunnel screen, and out to the 40-yard line of Dartmouth, into the 39 for an 11-yard pickup on first down.
Well, what you're seeing thus far is you're seeing a lot of different things, but the ball's coming out quick. They're not dropping back and just trying to run verts down the field, and so far they've been very successful. This looks just like Harvard football as usual.
And going with tempo, no huddle offense for Andy Orrick's team from the 39. And they fake the handoff. Craig flushed out by Generis, and he overthrows his target, Caden Kaufman.
Good coverage, well covered, and had no place to go with the ball.
When we talked to the Harvard coaches this week, they said, what stands out about Dartmouth is the simplicity of the things they do both defensively and offensively.
Well, to your point, they're not exotic, but they play as good a defense as anybody in the league.
On 2nd and 10, Craig loops it. It's caught by Dean Boyd. He's inside the 35 to the 34. It's a pickup of 5 and a 3rd and 5 upcoming. This is the direction that Harvard's going, that the wind has been blowing. So more or less the wind is at Harvard's back to this point. That could be a big factor, especially if we get into kicking situations. Crimson need to get to the 29-yard line. And the give to Bascon, patiently waits for his hole, and he's got another Harvard first down.
We talked about in the pregame, X has a great feel for where the blocks are going to be, setting them up and then bouncing inside or outside. And that was a great example. So far, the offensive line's done a very good job.
And this Dartmouth defensive front seven, we've talked this season about how Harvard had to replace a lot. Dartmouth equally had to replace a ton on their defensive line. They sent 4 guys to FBS schools as transfers, grad transfers, after they graduated and ran out of Ivy League eligibility. Craig, he gets thumped on first down and is dragged down. Bruce Williams makes the sack, and that's a rare sack against Harvard, just the 3rd allowed by the Crimson this season.
Yeah, to their point, they had really done a terrific job up until that play, and I think he got single block and made the move, and big drop there.
Well, and that's the right guard, Brandon Sullivan, who's down. He was the one who was blocking Williams, and it looked like he suffered some sort of malady on the play that allowed Williams to break free. So injury timeout on the field. Harvard facing a 2nd and 17 in a scoreless game when we come back.
Welcome back inside Harvard Stadium, where the Dartmouth Big Green are visiting the Harvard Crimson. And this Dartmouth special teams is special for so many reasons, but probably none more than the fact that their punter is ambidextrous. Luke Armistead can punt with both his right and left foot. This is something that's really incredible and rare. According to Coach McCorkle, this is a big reason that they recruited him. He can really use it to an advantage to help with protection and react to what scheme the defense is throwing at him. Now, if you ask Harvard's head coach, Andy Orrick, he's completely in awe of him. He says, not something you see very often, if at all, and he thinks it's an incredible advantage for Dartmouth to be able to avoid block punts, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and Harvard may have to be less aggressive on those punts as they typically would be. It's a 2nd and 17 after the sack, and Harvard comes with an empty set here for Jaden Craig. Has some time. Eyes still downfield. Now he'll run for it and just scamper back to the 30-yard line. Still going to leave a 3rd and long here as the Crimson need to get to the 17.
Well, they definitely we're definitely in a defensive position where they're going to defend the pass there. They had a drop 8. You don't see that very often, but they get 8 people in the under coverage there.
And a note, Brandon Sullivan walked off the field under his own power. He's been replaced by Nahal Rana, a sophomore guard from Toronto, Ontario, who's going to be paying attention surely to what happens at the Rogers Center tonight. Over the middle, it's caught for a first down. A strike from Jaden Craig to Dean Boyd, and they convert on 3rd and long.
Yeah, Dartmouth's going to have to make a decision here. They dropped 8 again, and they still put a ball up the seam. So they weren't getting any pressure. They had a guy wide open. If you got 8 guys involved in the secondary, you better be able to take away that route.
17-yard pickup to the 14-yard line. And this Harvard drive continues. Fake the handoff over the middle. Gil Martin falls into the end zone. Touchdown. Harvard marches down the field, and Seamus Gil Martin, his second touchdown catch of the season, and Jaden Craig's 40th in his Harvard career.
Well, I'll tell you what, it looked like business as usual. You know, they had one hiccup, but besides that, they got really great protection. They went up and down the field and came away with 7. I don't think that's obviously what Dartmouth had in mind.
Tight coverage there. Harrison Keith, the safety, was on top of Gil Martin. And now Kieran Corr for the point after with the wind at his back. Dylan Fingers is the holder, and the long snapper, Jack Bade. And the kick is good to make it 7-0 Harvard on a drive that ate up more than 5 minutes of clock here in this opening possession.
I don't think you're going to see a lot of people taking shots at field goals unless they're in tight with this wind today.
Certainly in the other direction, although winds at Harvard Stadium can be vexing. Let's take a look at the Ivy League standings coming into today. And, well, Penn won last night, a big win. Yale also victorious today. You see Brown and Columbia at the bottom of the standings at 0-4, but Harvard can stay in front with a win, but Dartmouth can join what would then be a 4-way tie at 3-1 in the conference, of course, depending on what Princeton and Cornell do as well today. So this just underscores how critical this game is and how tight things are in the top half of the league.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I think the reality is that most years, the bottom end of it, the last part of the schedule is always more challenging than the beginning.
Corr, who has been a touchback specialist this season, will send this one away, and it'll go over the returner. Well, we talked about the wind. For more on that, let's go back down to the field where the wind-blown Amanda Keene is.
You got that right. Wind is definitely a factor here. Actually, a few moments ago, some notes from the Dartmouth sideline, some paperwork actually blew across the field. Now, I went to pick them up, and the official stopped me. He picked them up and pocketed them. He didn't want anyone on this sideline to take them, and a Dartmouth aide came running over to get those papers back. So definitely something everyone's going to be paying attention to, just holding on to everything, because not only will it impact the football, it could impact the game plan.
It sounds like Amanda almost walked away with the Dartmouth game plan based on how important those papers were. First play offensively, and Grayson Saunier spins out of a tackle, stays on the move. He's pursued and brought down by Damian Henderson. It'll be a loss of a yard, but a lot of dramatics going on there. He's maybe fortunate it was only a 1-yard loss.
I'll tell you, coming off the great drive by Harvard, and then defense really playing really stout in that first play. That's obviously off to a good start.
Passing numbers on Saunier, he's 12th in the FCS in completion percentage at just over 69%. 2nd and 11 to the outside. It's hauled in and brought down by Kedrick Fisher, the wide receiver, to set up a 3rd and 2. Fisher, a sophomore from Jacksonville, Alabama. That's his 11th catch of the season.
You know, year in, year out, we'd say, hey, we got to stop the run. It's not that you don't have to stop the other things, but if you can't stop the run, you can't do anything. So far, Harvard's done a good job with that, and they're going to have to throw the football probably a little bit more, Dartmouth that is, than they are used to.
You've got Corbo, the tight end in motion, the All-American, on 3rd and 2. Saunier, quarterback keeper all the way to the outside, and he won't get there. He'll be bowled over. Sean Line was first to meet him. The ball popped out at the end, but I think he was down before it came loose. And so it's 4th down on another 1-yard loss for the quarterback, Saunier.
Yeah, he tried to take it around the end, and Harvard had a lot of people on the perimeter and got nowhere. Obviously doesn't put a lot of gas in their tank.
Let's see which leg Luke Armistead chooses to punt with, as he's back awaiting the snap from Andy Bellis. Armistead is 2nd in the Ivy League in punting average at 44.5 yards a boot. He had a career-high 58-yarder in the 3rd quarter last week against Columbia. The left foot punt with the flags coming out. The snap will not count. And we're going to get a procedure penalty coming up against Dartmouth to push him back 5 yards. This will be the first chance we get to hear Todd Boyd. So that'll push Dartmouth back to the 27-yard line. And now we'll see if Armistead elects to punt with his left foot again. We were told by Andy Orrick that the left foot is his natural kicking foot. So when he punts righty, Harvard has a different approach for maybe getting hands up, ball comes off a little bit differently.
Yeah, he'll be a good rugby player someday.
Well, he's a heck of a punter right now. And now he goes with the right foot. And this ball will not be caught. It bounces at the 43-yard line of Harvard and then takes a hop out of bounds. So the Crimson will have good field position with 6:49 to go in the opening quarter. We've seen Armistead go left and go right. We also saw Harvard go right into the end zone.
Getting to see Ivy League put on a national stage is just very, very cool to me.
I get to sit in a classroom with wrestlers who go compete at a national level, hockey players who are making it to championships. To watch them succeed, at a national level, it's pretty incredible.
I don't think I would be where I'm at if I went anywhere else. It's been really fun for me to just challenge myself and make it to those events and perform.
But now I think people are paying a lot more attention to what the Ivy League is capable of and putting some more respect on the league.
The Ivy League is going to be on the big stage more and more often, and I'm excited for that.
Always a tough trip to the Garden State for Harvard. This one a little less tough than some of the more recent ones. Crimson, they were struggling a bit early. They trailed for the first time all season. We're down 14-10, but then they scored the final 25 points of the game. 3 different rushers scored touchdowns. You saw Isaiah Bullock, and then DJ Gordon was able to slip through into the end zone to score a touchdown, and Exavea Bascon scored as well, as the Crimson won 35-14 for their first win at Princeton Stadium since 2016. It had been a while since Harvard had last won. The big game by Bascon, and big rushing attack. Most road game rushing yards in a conference game since 2019 against Yale. And no doubt that was a meaningful win for head coach Andy Orrick, a former Princeton player, a former Princeton assistant coach, a homecoming for him and his family, and they were able to get the last laugh on the Tigers. So second offensive drive for the Crimson and Jaden Craig. And he'll fake the handoff and spin away from one would-be tackler and fire incomplete. That was broken up. I think Zion Freer-Brown got a hand on it. He's celebrating as if he did, the outstanding linebacker from Ohio. And it's 2nd and 10.
Well, when you consider the first 2 drives by each team, Harvard really happy with what's happened thus far, so got to keep it going.
Crimson were able to overcome a 7-yard loss on a sack. Craig is now 6 of 9 for 58 yards and a touchdown. Flips it to the left side again. That gets batted down, and fortunately for Harvard, nothing comes of it. It was Thaddeus Generis who got something on it. I don't know if it hit his hand, hit his helmet, but back-to-back balls broken up by the linebackers. Yeah, he got his right hand up there. Generis, he reminded Mickey Fine, the Harvard offensive coordinator, of Jacob Syke in terms of his style of play when he comes at the quarterback.
Well, that's definitely high praise.
Syke graduated after last season as Craig on 3rd and 10 going for Boyd, and it just is out in front of his fingertips.
Yeah, that would have taken an absolutely perfect throw. Very good coverage by the corner.
So Dartmouth forces a 3-and-out, 3 incomplete passes. And we'll see Harvard's punting unit for the first time, led by Dylan Fingers, who started the season as the short-range place kicker. Because of an injury to Brian Checkley, he's taken over as the full-time punter. This one end over end, and we'll take a bounce back to the 27-yard line. That's where the Dartmouth offense will take over.
Yeah, not sure they were. I think they were hoping to get a little more territory with that kick.
The Crimson, as you see there on the graphic, 6-0, and they are one of just 6 teams without a loss across FCS. You see the national ranking next to all of those teams. And Harvard started the season unranked. They've been working their way, clawing their way up the rankings, and that means a little bit more this season because of postseason being on the table for Harvard. But this is great company to find yourself in.
No question about it. And they will, if they win, they will go up the chart again.
It's been that way every time they've won this season, as the handoff goes to DJ Cruther, and he just brings a bunch of guys with him all the way out past the 33-yard line. It's a pickup of about 6 yards for Cruther, and he's a guy who we noted runs with a level of violence that not a lot of other running backs in the league do.
Well, he had some violence in the offensive line as well. That was a good crease.
The Big Green don't have their typical starting left tackle out there, as Cruther will get it again, go to the right side, and gets past 2 before a bear hug down by line. He'll be shy of the first down, but it's 3rd and short. Be about a yard shy. W. Lemieux was a first-team All-Ivy League player last year, left tackle, captain of the team, not out there. Instead, in his place, it is Will Prince, who's listed as a backup right tackle. So he's getting the nod out there. That could be significant for a team that loves to run the ball. 3rd and 1. Tight formation for the Big Green. It's Cruther, and he'll get the first down. Plows forward all the way to the 38-yard line. Needed 1, got 2, and Dartmouth gets its first down of the game.
Yeah, Dartmouth seems to feel like they're starting to hit their stride here. They obviously want to create a line of scrimmage, and if they can do that, then the play-action pass will help itself.
And after going 3-and-out on the first drive, just from a confidence perspective, when you trail right out of the chute, really important to pick up that initial first down. 4 wide receivers for quarterback Grayson Sagne. He completes it to Grayson O'Bara, the top wideout. Short pickup, but Grayson to Grayson. That's been the connection this year. That's catch number 31 for O'Bara, who's 4th in the league in catches and receiving yards.
Yeah, great job destroying the blocks on the perimeter and getting as many people to the ball. He'll take 2nd and 8 anytime.
Again, Dartmouth is throwing and driving into the wind on this drive. That'll obviously change in about 4 minutes of game time. Corbo split out left to the top of your screen. Looking in that direction, Sagne pulls it down. He's pressured to the outside and throws, and incomplete. Juggling attempt made by Nick Lemon, wide receiver from Raleigh, North Carolina. It's incomplete in 3rd and 8.
Excellent coverage by the under coverage. Outstanding job by the corners and the safeties.
Sammy McCorkle had such high praise. He said they're so good in the back end. You know, Ty Bartram is the dude back there, but across the board, they've got more than just the Harvard captain in that secondary.
Well, we can talk about Ty Bartram a little later because, to your point, he's a very special player.
3rd and 8. Dartmouth needs to get to the 48. Sagne over the middle. He's got his man. It's Kedrick Fisher again. Makes his second catch of the day. This time it goes for a first down into Harvard territory.
Yeah, the field linebacker didn't quite get to the zone drop that he needed to, and that's too easy.
A difference for Dartmouth's offense this year. In past years, they've had basically one guy who's been the primary wide receiver, and if you shut him down, you were probably going to shut the Dartmouth passing game down. They feel like they're better balanced when it comes to their wide receivers this season.
I think their pass game output has verified that.
Crother will rumble forward, and you see him met at the line of scrimmage, and one note from Andy Orrick is that their running backs, they fall forward when they get hit. So when you meet them, they still pick up an extra yard or two, which is really a great character piece to your running game. Even though that only goes for 2, it could have gone for no gain. Crother, a senior from Sacramento, he's waited his moment to be the lead back, and he's taking full advantage. One of the top running backs in the Ivy League. Sagne looking deep, he's got a man, and it's incomplete. Oh, Nick Lemon was in position. It hit him in the hands, but he couldn't hold on.
Harvard definitely dodged a bullet there. Good routes, not quite a good enough throw. Part of that is wind driven, but they should have had that one.
Lemon coming off the best game of his college career. He caught 3 balls for 61 yards last week, including a 48-yarder against the Columbia Lions. And here's what you're talking about, throwing into that wind. Without that wind, probably sets him up for a better chance to make the catch.
Okay, full spread, nobody in the backfield here. They're going to throw the football or quarterback draw.
Draw always on the table with a guy like Sagne. Rush gets to him quickly, has to throw it away.
Great job, great pressure by the defensive line.
Alex DeGreek and Brandon Ukonu. Ukonu is a freshman from Texas, and they force the early throw, and it's 4th down. Punting unit coming on the field after a drive that got inside the Harvard 45.
Yeah, when you look at that front 4, Alex DeGreek is, he's the veteran. He's a great athlete, and he's been spectacular this year in terms of the amount of pressure he can put on the quarterback.
His defensive coordinator, Scott Larkey, calls him a wrecking ball. Always goes hard. Armistead with the left foot on the punt, shanked it. And that went out of bounds, I think, somewhere between the 25 and the 30.
I think that's going to be about a net 24 yards.
They'll mark it at the 25. The Harvard offense will take over there after stymieing the Big Green for the 2nd straight possession. Well, it was a great night for the Big Green last Friday night facing Columbia on national television. This was the first drive from Columbia. They drove it down to the Dartmouth side of the field, but that's when Tyson Grimm picked off a pass and returned it 75 yards to the end zone, but Dartmouth was not done there. Grayson Saunier used his legs and motored his way for a touchdown run. It's a big day for Saunier as he scored 3 times on the ground. He also had a blocked punt return for a touchdown. All in the first quarter, they had a special teams, offensive and defensive touchdown in the first 15 minutes. You see the night from Saunier, and they made Columbia's quarterbacks look very, very shaky. You see the passing performance in that game. It was the biggest margin of victory for Dartmouth since 2013 when they blanked Columbia 56-0. Talk about coming in with a head full of steam to this matchup.
A little bit different opponent, but absolutely.
DJ Gordon is in the backfield on this drive, and he'll get it to start the drive, and it is met immediately, pulled down by Joshua Johnson, the junior from Phillips Exeter out of Statesboro, Georgia. Johnson, part of that rotating group of defensive linemen. Andy Orrick said, you know, they graduated 4 guys. We said, okay, great. Dartmouth's defensive line. He looks at them on tape. He's like, where do they get these guys? They got a factory of the same type of defensive player, all performing great.
They do a great job at that every year.
So it's a 1-yard gain for Gordon, who scored a touchdown last week, who at times has been Harvard's most productive running back, even though he's listed as a quarterback. Quick throw from Craig, and he can't connect.
Well, what you saw there is, they saw an empty backfield. They brought an extra guy, didn't have an answer for the extra guy. It was a 6-man rush, and that's what's going to happen.
He's trying to find Brady Blackburn, his favorite target. And so 3rd and long coming up for Harvard.
That's going to have to be a check with me play, because if you end up with 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, you got to get out of it.
Going to reset the play clock here. Harvard is 3 of 4 on 3rd down.
Empty set once again. We'll see if they bring them.
5 receivers for Craig. He'll loop it down the right sideline, looking for Blackburn. Oh, how did he catch it? Blackburn off to the races. It's going to be a 74-yard touchdown. And with it, the Harvard all-time touchdown pass record is shared by Jaden Craig.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was unbelievable. He was well covered. He made it look effortless. Just a tremendous football play. And that's the kind of thing Jaden Craig's been able to do for a long time, dating back to his sophomore season. And wow, it was perfect coverage, and he still managed to put it in there. And great job by Brady Blackburn.
The longest pass play of the season for the Crimson, 74 yards to the speedster from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. And it's the 41st career touchdown for senior Jaden Craig here in Core to try and make it a 14-0 lead. And his kick is perfect.
So, Alex, let me ask you, who do you think Brady Blackburn's rooting for in the World Series here?
Well, if he's like the rest of his nation, he'll be cheering for one of the teams in blue, specifically the Jays. But let's take another look here. How did Blackburn find this?
A perfect coverage. The kid's going to, come off the field shaking his head, the defender. Great job. And Brady has been, I think it's fair to say, when Harvard recruited him initially, they weren't sure if we're going to go on him. And the reality is that, boy, he's a special player. We knew he was a good track and field guy, but he's much more than that.
Now here you see it. Jaden Craig has tied Neil Rose for the most passing touchdowns in Harvard history. That first touchdown that he threw to Gil Martin moved him past Fitzpatrick and Chappell. And now, he's already got the record. Any more will be gravy, and he'll stand alone with his next touchdown pass.
Well, we'll talk about it later, but in a lot of ways, he's a lot like Ryan Fitzpatrick, starting with his leadership.
Fair catch called for and made in the end zone, so Dartmouth will get the football out to the 25-yard line. And Coach, one thing about everybody on that list, you coached all of them.
Yeah, those guys make you good coaches.
Well, you found him.
Well, we found him in a lot of different places because Neil was from Hawaii. That's the trip my wife wanted to make, but it didn't work out that way.
It's one heck of a recruiting visit that you got to tell the higher-ups. I got to see this guy from Hawaii. Worked out for both. So Dartmouth now in a 14-point hole. Their last drive made it into Harvard territory before it stalled, and now Sagne will keep it. He's got a lot of room. Grayson Sagne breaks free for 16 yards before he's brought down by Dillian Bradley.
Okay, read zone option there. If you got read zone option, you got to have somebody that's going to defend the quarterback on the edge.
And for Sagne, it seems like it doesn't matter if it's a designed run, if it's a scramble drill. He's effective either way. They dial plays up for him, but they don't need to in order to utilize his legs. So positive play on the first play of the drive. Now a pass, and it's overthrown to Kedrick Fisher, who made a big catch on the last drive to get into Harvard territory.
Did not look like the receiver was on the same page as the quarterback on that one.
Sagne throwing is 3 of 7 for 26 yards. And he's got 14 yards on the ground on 3 carries.
Yeah, if Dartmouth's going to be where they want to be, they've got to be able to have a dual threat. They've got to be able to throw the football down the field at times. Secondary has done a great job thus far by Harvard.
Sagne keeping it right up the gut. He's bashed down shy of the 50. He'll be about 2 yards shy of the first down, but an 8-yard run by Sagne.
Yeah, just a quarterback draw there. Had a lot of people drop it in coverage on 2nd and long, and good decision. Gives him a 3rd down and short.
He's a very different type of runner than the Gerbinos and Howards that Dartmouth has had at that quarterback spot. They've always had a running quarterback, but he looks a little bit different. Do you agree?
I think different in a good way.
Yeah.
He's three steps into full speed.
Still good size, 6'2", 215 pounds. And on 3rd and 2, he'll keep it and throw for Corbo, incomplete. Covered on the play by Owen Johnson, the linebacker. It's 4th down, and Dartmouth will see what they do as we go down to Amanda.
Noticed here on the sideline is punter Luke Armistead, visibly frustrated after those last few punts that did not go well for him. He punted about 6 or 7 more times into the net. He looked at tape. He was talking to his coaches, just very frustrated at his play as of right now. So this is going to be a very big punt for him, not only for the team, but emotionally as well.
His first 2 punts have gone 35 and 18 yards. 4th and 2 from the 49. And Armistead with the left foot. This is a much better kick. We'll see if that bounce will get inside the 5. It will get to the 5, and a long field will be in front of the Crimson as the first quarter comes to an end. But what an opening 15 minutes for the Harvard team as a whole. 2 touchdown passes from Jaden Craig. He first found his big tight end, Seamus Gilmartin, for 14 yards, and then a 74-yard deep ball to Brady Blackburn. And it's 14-0 Crimson. They've got the football starting at the 5-yard line when we come back to the second quarter.
Getting to see Ivy League put on a national stage is just very, very cool to me.
I get to sit in a classroom with wrestlers who go compete at a national level, hockey players who are making it to championships. To watch them succeed, at a national level, it's pretty incredible.
I don't think I would be where I'm at if I went anywhere else. It's been really fun for me to just challenge myself and make it to those events and perform.
But now I think people are paying a lot more attention to what the Ivy League is capable of and putting some more respect on the league.
The Ivy League is going to be on the big stage more and more often, and I'm excited for that.
1 year ago when these two teams met in Hanover, Dartmouth came back from an early 10-0 deficit. They got a big play to Daniel Houghton. Long touchdown, and Dartmouth was up by 10 points a couple of moments, 27-17. Charles DePrima scored 2 rushing touchdowns in the fourth quarter, part of his 3 on the day. This was the second that gave Harvard the lead, but they left a little bit of time for Dartmouth at the end of this one. And it came down to a Hail Mary. Where have we heard this before? A Dartmouth Hail Mary, but this time Jack Donahoe knocking it down to preserve a 4-point Harvard win. There was no Misaki Arts to step in and make a catch on a tip drill, and Harvard won its 3rd consecutive game against Dartmouth. And I know that just shot arrows through your heart, Coach, that matchup a few years ago here at Harvard Stadium.
I will never forget that. It was about 100-1, and still have nightmares.
You see Big Green, even in the loss, the most points they've scored against Harvard in more than 2 decades. As the Crimson take over at the 5, Jaden Craig rifling for Blackburn. He makes the grab. Brady Blackburn elevating right over Jordan Barnes. And the Crimson get a 38-yard strike out of their own end zone.
You know, we've said it already. We've said it in previous games, but probably the most surprising player on the squad in terms of what he's done as a sophomore. What a throw. Great coverage, but what a throw. Dropped it right in the bucket.
Officially 39 yards, and that throw going into the direction of the wind, as Harvard will face that wind as another opponent this quarter. Doesn't matter, though, to Craig. He finds the track star Cam Henry, who gets wrangled out of bounds. Henry had a ball dropped earlier, but picks up his first reception here.
Really like the way Mickey Fine, offensive coordinator Mickey Fine, is dinking and dunking and giving them a lot of different formations to adjust to, and obviously that's been part of putting 14 points on the board.
That was actually the second catch for Henry today. 5-yard pickup. But he's dinking and dunking, but not afraid to dial up a big play to number 19. He's done it a couple of times. Play action fake. This one a little bit behind Henry. Goes back to get it and scampers out of bounds at the Dartmouth 49-yard line. So it's a 2-yard gainer and a 3rd and 3 coming up. Every third down here when you're trailing 14-0, this is a huge play, it feels like, for Dartmouth to try and keep this drive from producing points.
No question about it. The offense has played really well for Harvard. Defensively, obviously, they take a lot of credit for their success. I'm talking about Dartmouth's defense. And this is not the usual from what they've seen thus far this season.
Exavea Bascon, he had a huge hole that opened up and easily picks up the first down to the 44-yard line. A 5-yard run for Exavea Bascon. It's just his 2nd carry.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about X, and he's got a great feel. He really plays with his eyes, and he follows exactly where the play should be going. And if it doesn't work there, he's going to bounce it or he's going to bounce it back. But such a smooth runner.
And vision is such an attribute that's difficult to define at times, but he's definitely got it out of the backfield. Craig, scrambling out of pressure, finds his other running back, Jordan Harris, and he'll be hog-tied down, but not before getting out to the sticks. Nico Schweikel making the stop, preventing even more yards.
You know, there's a lot of quarterbacks that teams use probably more in the run game than Harvard does, but he's one of those guys. He could do it all, and wow, you know, he makes it look like he's a 6 foot, 180-pound guy, but he's really 6'3", 230 pounds, and very impressive with his footwork.
1st and 10, and Craig hands off to Jordan Harris, and a modest gain here. You know, it was against Dartmouth 2 years ago that he really had his coming out party. It was this game back in 2023 that you made the decision to remove Charles DePrima as the primary quarterback, insert Jaden Craig. That was a game that you won 17-9, and then you started him the next week against Columbia, and as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, that wasn't an easy thing to do. the kid we replaced was an awesome kid, great teammate, great athlete, and this is a 1 every 10-year kid.
On 2nd and 8, it's Harris again, and he'll make positive yardage inside the 30 for a pickup of about 3.
Yeah, both Exavea and this guy, both of them are not big running backs, but they're more physical than people give them credit for. They make all the great cuts, and him being a 5th-year senior, this is a very important year to him.
Jordan Harris has the longest rush in the Ivy League this season, a 75-yard sprint to the end zone earlier this year against Holy Cross. Harvard 5 of 6 on 3rd down today, facing a 3rd and 5.
Empty set.
See what Dartmouth comes with. Right now 3 showing a pass rush. Plenty of time for Jaden Craig. He'll scramble, looking for the first down. He's got it, lunging forward. He only needed to get to the 24, and I think he's got it. They mark him right there, and it is a first down, signals Todd Boyd.
Again, Dartmouth dropped 8 people in the coverage, and if you're going to do that, you better be able to make sure the quarterback can't bust it on the outside.
There is a huge Dartmouth contingent here at Tim Murphy Field at Harvard Stadium, as there often is. So many Dartmouth alumni in Greater Boston, and they are sitting on their hands as Harvard is trying to mount a 3rd scoring drive in this first half. Craig now on the move, throws, and it's incomplete, bounced up there, nearly came into the waiting arms of the defensive back Jamal Cooper.
Great coverage by Dartmouth, and even in the big plays that Harvard has made, it's been good coverage and just players that's going up and get the ball. But this is a very good defensive team. Thus far, though, Harvard's making them look a little more average.
Dartmouth defensively ranks 20th in the country in scoring defense and 23rd in the country in total defense. 2nd and 10, the give Harris. And he'll get a few before being brought down by Schweikel, the linebacker out of Germany. Had a 12-tackle game earlier this season against the Yale Bulldogs. That was an amazing game for Dartmouth once again, and a nightmare for the guys in New Haven after they blew a 21-point lead at home against Dartmouth a year ago. They scored a last-minute touchdown to go in front of the Big Green, but missed the extra point. They led 16-14. That was just enough time for Dartmouth to drive down the field and set up a long field goal for Owen Zalk, who nailed it. And Dartmouth won 17-16 for its first Ivy League win of the season. Bascon on 3rd down gets swarmed. No fooling the Dartmouth defense as they make the stop on 3rd down.
Critical stop there when you think about 14 points already on the board, heavy in the red zone. Make them kick a field goal.
Only a 1-yard gainer, and out comes Kieran Kaur, who's got a strong leg. This is a 38-yard field goal, but it's into a tricky wind. It's more or less blowing into his face, slightly diagonally. Good snap, good hold, and the kick is yanked to the left, and it is still good. He just got it through.
That was not pretty, but it was effective.
Looked like he was fighting the wind, trying to get it through the teeth of it. Harvard gets the field goal. They lead it 17-0 over the Big Green as Kaur bangs through his 9th field goal of the season.
Getting to see Ivy League put on a national stage is just very, very cool to me.
I get to sit in a classroom with wrestlers who go compete at a national level, hockey players who are making it to championships, to watch them succeed, at a national level. It's pretty incredible.
I don't think I would be where I'm at if I went anywhere else. It's been really fun for me to just challenge myself and make it to those events and perform.
But now I think people are paying a lot more attention to what the Ivy League is capable of and putting some more respect on the league.
The Ivy League is going to be on the big stage more and more often, and I'm excited for that.
Welcome back inside Harvard Stadium to a pretty packed crowd here in Cambridge today. And this is something that actually both teams planned for, knowing that Dartmouth was going to travel well and this Harvard team was going to show up and show out when it came to their fans today. So much so that both coaches from Harvard and Dartmouth told us that they planned for crowd noise in practice this week to make sure that their communication was flawless, no matter if the crowd or even the wind could impact this game. Now, Dartmouth has an indoor facility that they use to really crank up the music inside so that it's hard to hear each other. That's how they practice with it. And Harvard's head coach Andy Orrick said that his guys love the crowd noise. They live to have it and have the crowd involved on third down and cheering, but they also knew that they had to be prepared with their communication because the opposing team's crowd really does travel when it comes to the sound across Harvard Stadium. So it's something that both of these teams worked on coming into today, guys.
Yeah, it's a charged up atmosphere. It's great for the Ivy League, and as we talked about at the top of the broadcast, it's one of the marquee games on the schedule, and often these teams, at least one of them and usually both of them, are involved in that Ivy title chase, and this year, of course, is no different. We had 22,000 plus at this matchup at Harvard Stadium 2 years ago, and we'll see where we end up today, but a healthy crowd has arrived on that Dartmouth sideline, and there's always great fan support from the Crimson fans in attendance today as Dartmouth facing a 17-0 hole. Try and dig out of it here before halftime. They will receive the first kickoff in the second half, but first things first, they got to put points on the board.
Yeah, no question about that. It's for sure.
There's a deep ball, and it is hauled in near midfield. What a catch by Grayson O'Bara, and a great drive starter for 26 yards.
Great drive starter indeed. That was one of those throws. You got to go up and get it. Perfect throw. And coverage has been great thus far by Harvard, but you're going to have to do more than run the football against this team to put points on the board.
Had some big games at the end of last season, and Sammy, his head coach, said that it's really helped him this season with his confidence. As that was a scary pass, nearly picked off by Jack Donahoe, just over his outstretched arms. But O'Bara, even the Harvard coach could pick up on it. Scott Larkey said you can see that he pushes himself. The effort level is higher than most when he's out there on film, and you could certainly see it on that big reception.
I agree 100%.
So 2nd and 10, 8:02 remaining in the half. And Cruther in the backfield with Grayson Saunier. It's the best play of the day a moment ago for the Big Green. Saunier flushed out of the pocket, rolling to his left, trying to find a receiver, and he overthrows his intended target, Kedrick Fisher.
I'll tell you what, excellent pressure by the defensive line. You had a 280-pounder on the inside who covered him on the outside. Really, really, really good coverage.
Harvard had a lot, just like Dartmouth, to replace on that defensive line and at the linebacking level. And they really like the group that they have. That starting group is out there right now. Alex DeGreek on the defensive left side near the top of your screen on the defensive line. That's Chris Corbeau in motion. He's been quiet to this point. Harvard comes with a blitz, and Saunier gets eaten up by it. The pressure came from his left. He went right into a team meeting as the Crimson and Jake Darling, Xavier Agostino make the stop and will force another Dartmouth punt.
It's what's up front that counts, and the defensive line thus far has played tremendous football.
Darling, a junior from Bourne, Texas, 6'4", 290, stepping into a much bigger role this season. And now another left-footed punt from Armistead. Fair catch made for Harvard inside the 15.
That was not an easy catch with the sun. Well done.
So Harvard will start at the 13-yard line. They started at the 5 on their last drive, but the Harvard defense bringing the emotion, bringing the pain this afternoon.
We see the promises you make. Doing more than your fair share. Working twice as hard. Saving lives, changing lives. And your life's work deserves nothing less than a lifetime guarantee. You made a promise. So did we. DIAA's promise of a guaranteed retirement paycheck for life is a promise that pays off.
I told you where Jaden Craig is in terms of the Harvard touchdown record board. These are active quarterbacks at the FCS level, and their passing efficiency from the start of career entering today. And see Jaden Craig ranking number 3. It's you might not be as familiar with the passer rating in college as you are in the NFL. It doesn't matter a lot, but it shows, again, the efficiency of the position, how good you are at getting yards and touchdowns in as few passes as possible. And point being, even if you don't understand the numbers, that's a good spot to be on that list. As Craig takes back over and hands it off to DJ Gordon. Got tripped up at the line of scrimmage, out across the 15 to the 17. For an injury update, let's go back down to the field and Amanda Keene.
Well, Alex, you'll remember early in the game, offensive lineman Brandon Sullivan went down with an injury. It was an upper body injury. He had taken pads and his helmet and return to the locker room. He will not return, guys.
That's a big blow for Harvard. They've been so healthy over the last few years on that offensive line. So Brandon Sullivan, a sophomore, he was a big get for them in recruiting. He chose Harvard over Boston College, but it doesn't look like he's going to return. DJ Gordon doesn't go down. He just goes out of bounds as he shakes off Freer Brown. Big pickup on the ground out to the 35-yard line. Pickup of 18 yards for the Indianapolis native.
Well, we had a tremendous push on the right side of the offensive line, starting with the tight ends there. That was great.
DJ Gordon listed again as a quarterback, but doesn't go down easily. And it's such a supportive running back room, no matter who is out there, as it's a timeshare. Craig over the middle and just unable to connect with Gil Martin.
May have rushed that one just a little bit. That's when he can usually make in his sleep.
So it's 2nd and 10. But when we spoke to the Harvard coaches about that running back core, I asked, do they get a little bit more charged up when they see DJ Gordon breaking tackle after tackle as he's done so many times this season? It's really whoever's in there because they've all been productive. And we saw that last week against Princeton, seeing that again here today. Craig will keep it this time, rolling left. And he'll be pressured, gets rid of it, and it's caught, completed at the 40-yard line. And Harvard makes something out of nothing. That's Logan Reska, the 3rd tight end, the junior from West Seneca, New York, his 5th catch of the season.
Yeah, he's a big, strong kid. If you look at the 3 tight ends, they're all a little different. Ryan Osborne's like a big wide receiver. Logan's like an athletic offensive tackle, and Seamus Gilmartin is about a little of both. But as always, doing a great job with that tight end group.
That is really an impressive throw from Craig. Looked like he was a basketball player on the run making that pass instead of a quarterback. And on 3rd down, he's got a 1st down as he completes it to Gordon, who again does not go down on first contact. Got a couple more than he needed to. 7-yard pickup out to the 47.
Again, moving the ball a lot of different ways, a lot of different formations, a lot of different personnel. Kudos to Mickey Fine for the game plan.
And another muddle huddle here as they try and burn some clock, but also go quickly to not allow Dartmouth and make substitutions. Craig on 1st down. Over the middle, he finds Gil Martin this time, and he'll be hogtied close to the 35-yard line. They'll mark him down at the 36. And another big pickup for the Harvard offense is Seamus Gil Martin caught a touchdown earlier today. That's his 2nd catch.
Yeah, we talked about the tight ends a few minutes ago, and Seamus reminds me a lot of Cameron Brate. Cameron came in as an athlete, then a tight end, and ultimately ended up being a 7 or 8 year NFL player. Not saying he's going there yet, but he is an excellent athlete.
Crimson send a man in motion. And now Craig, he'll go down at the 40. Brought down by Joshua Johnson, who is fired up for the Big Green. They could use a big defensive play. And they get their 2nd sack of the game.
They got the sack, but the coverage was outstanding, and that's what gave the opportunity to get a little bit of a late sack. There was really no place to go.
I want to correct myself. Earlier, that catch that was made, it wasn't Gordon, it was a 1st-year wide receiver, Will Krzyzak.
Well, that's going pretty deep in the...
I'd say so. The double check on that as Gordon is in the backfield here, and Craig on 2nd and 14, flushed out, buys himself time. Flag pops out and out of bounds at the 35 after a 5-yard gainer, but we'll see about the penalty.
Yeah, I think we know what this penalty is, and I don't think it's going to go Harvard's way.
Harvard has not had a penalty called upon them. We've only seen 1 penalty on the day. So having a little bit of microphone difficulty there with Todd Boyd, but Derek Osmond, the right tackle, was called for the hold. So it's going to back it up to 2nd and 24 for Harvard.
Yeah, up until now, Harvard has stayed ahead of the sticks. Harvard has stayed ahead of the drive, and really good really good outing by the defense on Dartmouth's ends this period.
Jordan Harris in the backfield. And he'll get it on the handoff. Shuffles to his left, and he gets a lot of that yardage back. He'll be just shy of the original line of scrimmage, so a 12-yard gainer on the ground, and it's 3rd and 12. Dartmouth will quickly substitute as Harvard goes no huddle. Dartmouth avoids having too many men on the field. Here's Gil Martin, and he cannot shake free. It's Patrick Campbell who makes the stick at the 33-yard line. Only a 5-yard pickup on 3rd and 12. And Harvard keeping the offense out there for now.
I think that makes sense. It's going to be close to a 50-yard field goal with kind of a very tough to figure out wind here. So, yeah, let's go get the first down and keep this thing rolling.
Yeah, remember, they got to the 20-yard line when they tried that ugly-looking but successful field goal earlier in the quarter. So 4th and 7, needing to get to the 26. And we'll hit the 2-minute timeout first. So Harvard will have a little bit more time to think about it on a 4th and 7 from the 33-yard line, leading 17-0 and looking to do more damage. Back at Harvard Stadium, sun setting, and let's take a look at the total number of Ivy championships for each program. Dartmouth at the top of the list. Harvard, just like Dartmouth, has won a share of an Ivy League title each of the last 2 years, trying to become the second to get to 20 Ivy titles this year. And again, it just goes to show you how impressive it was, all the success, 14 in a row that your teams had against Dartmouth a bit earlier in your tenure.
It never comes easy, but we had an amazing group of student athletes during that time period.
4th and 7 for the Harvard offense from the 33-yard line. Dartmouth sends 4. It's over the middle and intercepted. Picked off by Sean Williams. And he will go out of bounds near midfield as Sean Williams gets the play that Dartmouth needed, his 4th interception of the season. It's just the 4th thrown by Craig. And the Big Green, with flags coming in at the end, have a chance to do some business in this first half.
He made a great play on the ball, no question about it. It got a little bit physical at the point of contact at the top of the route, and I thought they might throw a flag, but kudos. That was an excellent play by the defender.
Williams is a guy that has great savviness, a ton of experience. Sammy McCorkle said he's a big play type of guy. He plays fast and hard. And boy, he finds himself in the right spot more often than not. Assuming it stands, his 4th interception. And McCorkle is, you can see, quite unhappy with the discussion the referees are having.
I'm guessing something happened on the sideline here.
In return, Dartmouth number 1, 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
So the announcement made that it was during the return in 15 yards. The foul was called on Dakota Quinones, the defensive lineman. We'll see if we can see number 1 on your screen, but here's the pick by Williams. And it might have been on the left side of your screen at the very end there. We couldn't really see. Saw a Harvard offensive lineman go down, but that is a backbreaker. Let's take a look here. Play is over. And then the extra block.
Yeah, it was a little bit close.
And you can see why it was close enough why Sammy McCorkle would be upset. Instead of getting the ball at midfield, it's back at the 30. Cruther gets it on first down, and he'll churn his legs for 5 and keep the clock moving. Both teams with all 3 timeouts remaining.
Well, against Harvard's run defense, 5 yards is not a bad deal here.
Again, Dartmouth gets the ball back to start the second half, so they've got an opportunity to really turn this game on its head as you take a look at Cruther, who's not been a big factor so far. Saunier with line chasing him down and dragging him down at the line of scrimmage. Dartmouth will take a quick timeout.
Yeah, I think the challenge here is if you're going to run the football, it's going to be very hard to dominate the clock. They've got to throw the football to put some points on the board.
Timeout on the field. We'll take it as well. Dartmouth will try and get points before halftime, trailing 17-0. Just over a minute to go in the second quarter. back in Cambridge, and this is a good list to be on. This is all-time wins among FCS programs. Harvard inching its way closer to Yale. It's going to take a little while to catch the Bulldogs at that top spot. But there you see Dartmouth, number 6, and it's amazing here. North Dakota State plays more games than these Ivy League programs, and they're rocketing up the list. Of course, their performance is the biggest reason why. 3rd and 4, and no Cruther in the game on 3rd down as that pass is completed over to the wide receiver Fisher, and he's got a first down for Dartmouth. During the break, Amanda Keene had eyes on Cruther getting looked at on the sideline, so the top running back not in the game. They haven't had their top left tackle in the game for the entire first half. So Dartmouth trying to go on a 2-minute drill with at least one hand behind their back. Saunier down the sideline for Fisher, and it's broken up. Henderson got his hand in there. Damian Henderson, a tough guy to test, and he raised that finger up on his right hand saying, no, 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 not against me.
To your point, when you look at that secondary, who are you going to try to throw against? You don't want to throw it right down the middle because you've got Ty Bartram, who might be the best safety in the country. You got a couple of just real great in-your-face corners, and again, very few weaknesses on that defensive side of the ball.
Feels like we've been saying Damian Henderson's name so long as a starter. He's going to go down as the first 15-year starter in the Ivy League, it feels like. Oh, he's only a junior. Again, Fisher on the sideline, ushered out of bounds at the 42. And let's go to Amanda Keene down on the sideline. She has an update on DJ Cruther. Amanda, what are you seeing down there?
DJ Cruther having an issue with his eyes. They had to bring out the flushing, the water, and shoot it into his eyes. It seems like on that last play, perhaps he got some turf in his eyes. He was having a hard time focusing. So he has his helmet back on the sideline. Don't be surprised if he gets back in this game.
Tough introduction to Tim Murphy Field for Cruther as Corbo catches a pass, and he breaks an arm tackle and dragged down by Ty Bartram inside the 30. And a big pickup to Corbo, who has been anonymous in this first half, the All-American tight end, his first catch of the day.
Well, it was a big tackle by Ty Bartram, not letting him get out of bounds and stop the clock.
38 seconds to go. Saunier throws over the hands of his wideout O'Bara. And it'll be second down with 32 seconds to go from the 27. A note about Dartmouth special teams. We've told you all about the ambidextrous punter. Owen Zalk has partial ownership of the all-time field goal distance record in the Ivy League. He had a 54-yarder last year against Harvard. So they are well within his range. Empty backfield for Saunier. The Louisiana native takes the snap, throws quickly left sideline, and it's caught, brought in by the running back Desmond Jackson. First catch for Jackson, and it'll be an 8-yard pickup.
It would definitely be hard to walk away from a guaranteed 3 points, but they need to put on 7.
A score of any type makes it a 2-possession game. And Dartmouth does get the ball back to start the second half. This was jump-started by the interception from Sean Williams when Harvard was driving to try and put in a first-half dagger. On 3rd and 2, Saunier with pressure finds his man. It's Jackson again, but he's brought down shy of the yard to gain. Tackle made by Zayden Benson, and it will be 4th down and 2 to go. Clock will continue to run.
Great call by Scar Larkey there. Okay, he'd been zone, comes with the blitz, has to get it off from the flat, can't get the first down.
And Sammy McCorkle takes the timeout. And he let the time run off, which leads you to believe that he's going to try a field goal. Otherwise, you'd figure you'd call the timeout earlier, but obviously there's still time, and they've got a quarterback who can easily pick up 2 yards.
Yeah, this is not an easy decision here. Not a 100% easy decision here.
Harvard head coach Andy Orrick, he was just a moment ago giving the officials an earful. See the note, he proved to 2-0 all-time against his alma mater, Princeton. win last year, lopsided here at Harvard Stadium, and again, 21-point win at his old home a week ago. Said it was very special. Said it was weird. He didn't think it would be weird, but it was when he started driving into the stadium and he saw all the things that he used to see on his commute in there, and it kind of hit him. But once the game started, he went into coach mode, and it became just another game for him.
Well, I don't think this is a tough decision here, because with the amount of time on the clock, you kind of have to get points on the board. Even if you get the first down, there's no guarantee that you're going to have an opportunity to get a touchdown.
But you see now the officials all coming over to Coach Orrick to explain something. I don't know if it was a clock issue. They didn't put any more time back on the clock after that timeout was taken. Now, Dartmouth does have one more timeout, so if they pick up the first down and stay in bounds, they can call another timeout and then take a shot or two at the end zone. But it is, you know, you see it, they need to score a touchdown. Could also understand, just get something and say you go on a touchdown drive to start the second half, and all of a sudden it's a 7-point game. The field goal kicking unit is going to come out onto the field.
I think it's a good decision, all things considered.
Angle will be from that far right hash mark for Owen Zalk, who's 7 of 12 in the season. He's a weapon. This will be a 37-yard field goal with the wind at his back. Snap there, kick is on the way, and the kick is no good. Wide to the right for Zalk. A miss for the North Carolina native, and after the interception and the good drive from the Big Green, they'll walk away with nothing here in this first half.
Well, Dartmouth's got great kids. They've got high character kids. They will regroup, but those are 3 points that you really needed to have.
It stayed right the entire way. Certainly had more than enough leg. It's a wind that is pushing now diagonally left to right as Zalk was kicking it. And Jaden Craig will just take the knee, and Dartmouth will not use the timeout. And we'll go to halftime with a 17-0 score. And for Harvard, good things happen to them when they have a halftime lead. 139-10 since 2003 when leading at the break, Coach.
Yeah, if you could have told Harvard pregame that you'd be up 17 at the half, I think they would have taken that. I think.
So the Crimson scored a couple of touchdowns in that first quarter. The first to Seamus Gilmartin. The second, a 74-yard bomb to Brady Blackburn. They added a 38-yard field goal as well in the second quarter, and it's 17-0 Crimson out in front. Dartmouth will try and lick its wounds and come back in the second half. We'll have it for you when we come back to Cambridge.
I want people to know that I care about doing the right thing. That's something that I like to sort of emphasize in my work, but also just generally in everything that I do. I want people to know that I'm trying to do what I can to better the world. My name is Raymond, and I study neuroscience in the Mind, Brain, and Behavior track at Harvard College. I'm hoping to pursue pediatric psychiatry. I've always been interested in how earlier developmental stages and also different experiences early in life influence how kids develop and how they end up learning skills and interacting with others later on in life. My experience at Harvard has been incredible. I think being able to meet so many people and have so many awesome opportunities really does make it a memorable experience and also a very educational one. When I thought about coming to Harvard,
Harvard, I choose to embrace my passions, whatever they may be. At Harvard, I don't have to choose between fencing and music. I don't have to choose between academics and athletics. At Harvard, I choose to excel in both.
If we think about just basic marketing, what pulls people in? A great story. Yeah. The story of Uncle Nearest, the formerly enslaved man who taught Jack Daniels how to make whiskey.
Amazing.
That's the story that wraps around this brand. Can what Fawn did before be replicated in a completely different industry, or was this just pure luck that she was able to stumble into the spirits industry and create basically what we know now as a unicorn? Her background is critical because, like many unconventional leaders, not constrained by the pathway, because she was never taught the norms. Everything she's done for the first time. Having an unconventional upbringing, being a black woman in America, recognizing and accepting the world as it is. She never took anything personal. She focused on what is the goal. That mindset is what really helped her move quickly and then navigate challenges that she didn't realize were about to come. When you're able to really do the research and connect the story to the product, you're able to pull in people in ways you wouldn't otherwise. And so as we move to the cognac, there's got to be a story there that is yet to be told. We describe leadership broadly. There are big idea people, and there are people who get things done. The sweet spot are those who can make the connection in between the two. She's able to do both, and so the case allows for us to really understand how does one create a playbook for whiskey that she's about to possibly use in a similar way in a very different environment and still also win.
At Harvard, I choose to embrace my passions, whatever they may be. At Harvard, I don't have to choose between squash and art. I don't have to choose between academics and athletics. At Harvard, I choose to excel in both.
It's nice when your whole team comes here for you, Nolan. They want to be here for your signing days. I remember my signing day. I won't forget that day. I hope you have the same positive experience, and can't wait to have you on the team officially. It made a lot of sense for Nolan to be the guy who joins our team. His ability to come over adversity and challenges with a smile on his face, it's been a really, really important addition to our team. So now it's time to officially get him to sign his national letter of intent. All right, it's official, Nolan. It's official. Congrats, man.
My name is Jenna Sherman, and I'll be playing Waltz by Chopin.
10 opportunities, 10 Saturdays for 3 hours in the fall, and that's it. That's it, to really play and really get after it and do what we love to do.
Harvard became a potent football force again.
A windy but otherwise gorgeous day here beside the Charles River. And as we take a look at the scene, it has been all smiles for Harvard. They lead 17-0 at halftime against the Big Green as we welcome you back into the booth with Tim Murphy and Amanda Keene down on the sideline. Alex Vespoli here with you. Day after Halloween, Coach. This has been a house of horrors so far for Dartmouth, but for Harvard, it's been business as usual.
Yeah, I think business as usual is the way to put it because, again, almost 300 yards total offense in the first half, 17 points on the board against a very good defensive team, and another goose egg for the defense. So we're looking at a couple of good football teams, but right now Harvard is playing like the very special team that it is.
And Harvard's put up goose eggs defensively in the second half of each of the last 2 games they've played. Dartmouth, though, is a fourth-quarter team, so keep that in mind as we get toward that final 15 minutes. The first half highlights, first drive of the game, Seamus Gill-Martin, a 14-yard touchdown catch from Jaden Craig, 40th career touchdown for Craig. Dartmouth couldn't get anything going with the downfield game, some off-target throws, the wind wrecking havoc, but not with this one. A deep ball for Brady Blackburn. He got turned around just in time, got past Patrick Campbell, and darted 74 yards to the end zone. That helped Craig tie the Harvard record for touchdown passes in a career. Craig, though, late in the first half was picked off by Sean Williams. A penalty brought this return back to the 30-yard line, and then Dartmouth missed a field goal that would have given them their first points of the afternoon. That's why it's 17-0. The Big Green will receive the second half kickoff, and you mentioned it, Coach. Total yards, 282 to 133. Dartmouth has not been able to stay on a field. The team that is second in the country in third down conversion at 55% of the season, just 3 for 8 in the opening 30 minutes.
Yeah, we knew coming in that Harvard was an awful good football team. We had 2 real good teams, but it seems business as usual. Almost 300 yards total offense in the first half, only gave up 133, and you got a shutout going. This is we got a lot of football to play, but there's 2 good teams, and right now Harvard's looking special.
Luke Reeves is the deep man to return the kick from Kieran Core, who is kicking into the wind, and the wind makes its first appearance of the second half, blowing the ball off the tee. A couple of notes about Dartmouth is they've been playing without both of their starting tackles, Delby Lemieux and Vashon Washington, and that has hampered an offense that has been a great offense this season, but today only 133 yards of total offense, and there goes the wind again. We are 2 for 2 for Mother Nature. We get a little bit of help. I think that's Isaiah Kazavensky Jr., whose dad you coached. Great player for the Crimson at the turn of the century. He'll be the holder here.
Isaiah was a very special kid, as we all know. When you put it in context, 8 years in the NFL, Harvard Business School, and really a world-class story that we can tell someday.
NCAA Silver Anniversary Award winner this past January. His son does a terrific job on the hold, and a fair catch will be made. And the ball will come out to the 25-yard line, and the Dartmouth offense will try and get something going. They had a little bit something going in the late stages of the second quarter, but after they couldn't convert on third down, rather than go for it on 4th and 2, they tried a field goal. It was no good, wide to the right, and 17-0 the score. While we have a chance, we will check in with Amanda after this first play as Dartmouth will start this drive at the 25-yard line. Grayson Saunier will keep it himself and he'll plow forward for about 5 yards. Let's go down to Amanda.
Hey guys, well, when it comes to this Dartmouth team, head coach Sammy McCorkle says we have to quit killing ourselves. We're making mistakes and hurting ourselves. We have to take a deep breath and come out ready to play here in this second half. And as far as this Harvard team goes, they're feeling pretty good about execution, although they know that this quarterback is doing a great job with his feet, as you can see. He said this Dartmouth team is a top team when it comes to third downs, and we're doing a great job of getting them off the field eventually. So right now he feels like they're playing pretty well, and he hopes they can continue that through this second half here.
Thanks, Amanda. Saunier, 27 yards on 8 carries. He's just picked up 10 yards on the last 2. He's 9 of 18 passing for 97 yards. And DJ Cruther, well, you saw him leave the game in that final drive. He's still not back out there on the field. Looked like there was an eye issue, and this carry goes to Desmond Jackson, who's caught a couple of passes, but that's his first carry, and it goes for 4.
Well, it's a pretty good start. Ways to go here, but being able to run the football and be able to move the chains is certainly a good start.
Will Prince is manning that left tackle position for Dartmouth instead of Delby Lemieux, the first-team All-Ivy performer, as he has been all day. And another handoff goes to Jackson, and he'll only pick up a yard. 3rd and 5 coming up for the Big Green. And I think that the right tackle for Dartmouth looks like, well, we've got Sperk at right guard, and the right tackle, actually Sperk has moved out to right tackle. Try and see who's shifting inside, but it's 3rd and 4 for Dartmouth. And it's complete to the left side. Fisher makes the grab, and he's twirled out of bounds by Henderson. Got it by a yard, and it's 2 first downs on this Dartmouth drive. And again, they got a little bit of positive momentum at the end of the first half. Just have not been able to sustain drives much today.
Well, to your point, they're off to a good start. They've got a little bit of momentum and obviously have to put points on the board.
I believe that's Francisco Caballero, who is starting at right guard, the Miami native junior. So a little bit of reshuffling along that line. Again, playing without their starting running back. There's Corbo wide open over the middle, and he's got a first down in Harvard territory. Brought down at the 34-yard line by Jack Donahoe. And Corbo's second catch of the day, a big one.
Yeah, real good job on the play action. Sucked up the defense and put it down the seam.
You figure if Dartmouth is going to get the passing game going, number 7 has to be involved. Much like Jaden Craig, Corbo is getting big-time interest from NFL scouts. Here's the give, and this handoff goes to the running back for Dartmouth. And get a check on the number who that is. They don't have a 32 listed on their typical roster, but we'll give a quick check as to who that is who carried for the Big Green, trailing 17-0. That was Coulter Vela, as the only 32. He's listed as a defensive back on the team, so.
In red zone territory here.
On 2nd and 6. It's to the left side and incomplete for Fisher. Henderson was late breaking on that. Ball took a while to get to its target, though, and the difference between a completion and an incompletion.
We had a high-low going on that right corner, and I thought he would go up top with it, but he had a little bit of pressure, had to get the ball out.
Saunier, 11 of 21 passing, which is a number that completion percentage-wise, unaccustomed to. He was 12th in the country in the FCS in completion percentage coming into today. Handoff, Jackson barrels his way up the middle, and he should have enough for a first down. Gets 6 on 3rd and 6.
Well, kudos to the offensive line. They've come out, they're playing some serious football. They're knocking some guys off the ball. And this is, again, down into deep territory here. I don't think they're looking for 3.
First and 10 from the 22. You can argue this is Dartmouth's best drive of the day. O'Bara is in motion. Grayson looks that way. He finds Corbo again, left open inside the 10, and he'll go down at the 1. 21 yards to Chris Corbo, making his presence felt.
Well, this Dartmouth team, we know, has a tremendous amount of pride, and I'm sure there are a few guys talking up in the during the halftime. And
here's the give to Desmond Jackson. He'll be stood up. Only gets back to the line of scrimmage.
Read zone option. I thought he might have wanted to pull it there, but we might get the same thing.
Playbook totally open here on 2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. You've got a quarterback who can run it, a tight end who's a huge threat to score. He scored 7 times last year. Corbo lining up furthest to the left, just off the line of scrimmage.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we're going to get quarterback run here.
And you're right, and it's a touchdown. From 1 yard out, Grayson Saulnier's 9th rushing touchdown of the season, and Dartmouth finally breaks through. First points scored against Harvard in the second half in the last 3 games. Well, you sniffed it out. The empty backfield the way it started, and only Donahoe got a hand on the powerful Saulnier. Point after from Zhao, kicking in the same direction as his missed field goal, but he's perfect here. 20 of 21 on the season in point afters, and Dartmouth responds coming out of halftime 17-7 as the Big Green put it all together for the first time today.
At Harvard, I choose to embrace my passions, whatever they may be. At Harvard, I don't have to choose between fencing and music. I don't have to choose between academics and athletics. At Harvard, I choose to excel in both.
Being at an Ivy League school, it certainly is more than possible to be both an exceptional student as well as excel in the sport that you choose to pursue.
I get to sit in a classroom with wrestlers who go compete at a national level, hockey players who are making it to championships. To watch them succeed, at a national level, it's pretty incredible.
I don't think I would be where I'm at if I went anywhere else. It's been really fun for me to just challenge myself and make it to those events and perform and show people that Princeton is a good golf school and you can come here and have all your dreams come true.
Very fulfilling, very rewarding. I feel like you're at a world-class level in multiple fields.
All these schools have been around for a while. Just kind of getting to see Ivy League put on a national stage is just very, very cool to me.
But now I think people are paying a lot more attention to what the Ivy League is capable of and putting some more respect on the league.
There's been a lot of success in the Ivy League, and the Ivy League is going to be on the big stage more and more often, and I'm excited for that.
Big plays on that last drive from Chris Corbo. He caught 2 passes for 41 yards on that drive to help set up the touchdown. There he is seated on the bench, and this is a guy, a preseason first-team All-American. He was named to the East-West Shrine Game 1,000 watch list, so he's a potential for that postseason game, and he's a guy who NFL scouts love his flexibility. He was a wide receiver coming into Dartmouth. He learned how to take on the physicality of being a tight end, and nobody needs to tell you what makes a good tight end. What do you see in Corbo?
Well, sure, and I think more than ever, if you look at the NFL, their tight ends are more athletic-like than they were 10, 15 years ago.
Corbo, guy who can do it all and who really embraced that physicality, which can be tough for a lot of guys who come in as wide receivers for you to teach them how to run block, right?
Yeah, and I would be very surprised if he's not targeted multiple times in the next 30 minutes.
Well, we said at the end of that first half he's been anonymous. He hasn't really been there, and it feels like for offensive coordinator for Dartmouth, Shane Montgomery, you have to think that the message was we need to push the issue with our All-American tight end if we're going to come back in this game.
Yeah, where are we getting the best matchups?
So first Harvard drive of the second half. And Jaden Craig will pitch it to DJ Gordon. Quick cut. And Gordon, boy, making something out of very little. Ball came out at the end, but Harvard jumps on it. It's a 9-yard run for Gordon.
Well, we've seen some good running backs for Harvard this year, and obviously a lot of different guys that played, but there's no question that Gordon is he's carved out a piece for himself because it's hard to bring him down. He's got great speed, and his physicality is such when he hits, he goes 3 more yards.
They gave Harvard that extra yard, so it's a 10-yard run for Gordon. Do you think he shudders at being called a running back?
Well, I think he's starting to like it now.
Gets hit and pushed back, only half a yard there for Gordon, whose dad was a football player at Notre Dame in the 80s. His sister is a Harvard grad. Justice graduated a couple of years ago from Harvard, so a Harvard family. He's a sophomore, and this is a way to get him on the field. This was pitched to him. Do you want to do this, or do you want to sit on the bench as a potential second, third, fourth string quarterback? And he had to think about it, and boy, I think he's happy that he said yes to head coach Andy Orrick. Craig over the middle, and it's batted and incomplete. No, it's intercepted. Picked off by Harrison Keith off the hands of Seamus Gilmartin. It's the first time this season that Jaden Craig has been picked off multiple times in a game, and Dartmouth's offense can get right back to work.
That was a tough one. It was quite honestly well thrown, and just just one of those times that he didn't put it away.
Dartmouth is charged up, and Harvard's shaking its head as to what has happened here to start this half.
That was a bit of a freak play. Again, it was well thrown, well timed, and just didn't finish.
So the Big Green, all of a sudden, a bit of momentum. This is the running back who did get a carry last series, Miles Craddock. Craddock is a first-year running back getting himself into the mix, and we, again, have not seen DJ Crothers since he went out of the game during that 2-minute drill for Dartmouth at the end of the first half. Fake the handoff, and getting out of pressure goes Saunier, and his pass is incomplete. He's trying to find Nick Lemon, and Sammy McCorkle is blowing a gasket on the sideline asking for a penalty flag.
Well, good coverage.
You can see McCorkle there on the top left of your screen, and about as angry as you'll see a coach get. 3rd and 7 from midfield.
Big down for both teams here.
Dartmouth came into today the second best third down offense in the FCS. And they convert here. Lemon gets another chance and makes good on it. 1st and 10 for Dartmouth from the 36.
Well executed, well thrown, move the chains.
And Nick Lemon came into the day with 8 catches. We mentioned earlier, coming off the best game of his career. And he's certainly enjoys catching passes from Grayson Saunier. He's got a brother named Grayson, who's a wide receiver for Furman. And the running play, and this is a good sign to see DJ Crother getting back in the game, even if it's only for a 3-yard gainer. So DJ Crother involving himself, and still plenty of time where you can make the ground game part of your comeback attempt if you're Dartmouth.
Yeah, absolutely. They can. They've got to be able to mix it up. Already they're down in territory here.
Certainly within the range of Zalk, as there's a wide open Fisher, but it's overthrown. Like that was the whole of the defense, and a better pass maybe gets another touchdown.
Yeah, the quarterback took responsibility for that one. You could see that right after it, and I'm sure he'll rebound.
And another 3rd and 7. They just found Lemon on the 3rd and 7 from midfield.
Well, you're seeing an empty formation here. They're going to see if they're going to get a blitz out of it.
Plenty of time on the play clock as Dartmouth adjusts the play. Cruther comes back to Saunier in the backfield. 3 seconds on the clock, and Saunier gets the snap. Looking over the middle, now to the right, he completes it. Luke Reeves with the catch inside the 25, and another Dartmouth first down. Reeves has been quiet today. That's his first catch of the afternoon.
Well, Harvard brought pressure there. Really good job up front, and delivered the ball right on time.
Reeves, sophomore from Houston. Career high 4 catches, 43 yards 2 weeks ago in the win at Fordham. Cruther gets it, trying to make something on the right side. He'll be stood up after a 1-yard pickup. The Harvard defensive line standing tall. Today, Harvard has yielded 66 yards rushing to Dartmouth on 20 carries, so just about 3 yards a carry.
Well, when you consider that their top running backs are averaging almost 6 yards per attempt, very impressive, but that's what we've come to expect of this group. Okay, we got a bunch set here. Probably going to be play action pass.
They do exactly that. Quick pressure coming from DeGreek. Saunier on the run, and he'll skip out of bounds just behind his tight end Corbo, who was blocking. Be a third down from the 20.
And what you got to ask yourself here, is it going to be 4-down territory now that you're only 10 points behind, or you got to go for it?
This is the range that Zalk was in when he missed that kick at the end of the first half. Same direction, same hash mark. But first things first, to 3rd and 6. They've converted a pair of third downs on this drive. Obera in motion. Saunier. Pocket collapses. Saunier goes down back at the 29-yard line.
Great job on the pressure. Great job on the pressure rushing the quarterback here. Collapsed the pocket. Big play.
Jacinto Lopez, the junior from Middletown, New Jersey, with the sack, his first of the season, pushes Dartmouth all the way back to the 28-yard line, and that will bring out the kicking unit for what will be a 46-yard attempt from the reigning Ivy League Special Teams Player of the Year.
Not going to be easy, but it's the right decision.
Long field goal. He's made longer this season. The kick is up. It's on the way, and it's good.
Okay, folks, we've got a ball game.
One possession game after the 46-yard field goal from Zalk. He made the adjustment from his earlier miss, and it's a 7-point contest in Cambridge. Harvard will look to respond. The lead has been cut to 17-10 here in the third. Dartmouth converts with a field goal after the turnover. And Big Green, we mentioned not rushing the ball the way they usually do, or the way they are capable of. But historically, when you go all the way back to the late 60s, that is Dartmouth's record when they run for 200-plus yards. That's a nearly 90% winning percentage. Now, you figure when a team runs for 200 yards, they're going to have a winning record, but that's pretty impressive, Coach.
That's almost 90 percentile. That's truly amazing.
But today, they are 66 yards on 24 carries. That's 2.8 yards per rush. So they're a long way from 200, yet they're only a touchdown down.
Well, I'll tell you, Coach Lucky was with us for a long time. Never easy to run the football against Harvard.
And likewise, Dartmouth, a tough nut to crack from that perspective as well, as the kick will come to Harris back at the 2-yard line with a juggle. Harris electing to return, trying to find some space, and he'll be bowled over. That special teams unit for Dartmouth. Excellent kick coverage. Dartmouth also tough to beat here at Harvard Stadium. And this is what they've done in recent years. Since 2023, 14-1 at Harvard Stadium. And if they win today, it'll be their 100th win of this millennium here.
Incredible.
Not to bring up a sensitive subject, but the one loss, and you're nodding your head, it was to the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I still have nightmares.
Exavea Bascon receives the handoff. Good push and keeps his legs moving. Didn't look like there was anything there. All of a sudden, he's got a 5-yard carry. Bascon only his 4th carry today for about 18 yards. You know, Harvard came out throwing the football in that first half, and Dartmouth looks like they've made a little bit of an adjustment, and maybe Harvard will go back to the ground game to pick up some momentum.
Yeah, I think at the very least they're going to mix it up.
On 2nd and 5, it's Bascon again, and he gets met by Dakota Quinones. It's a 2-yard gain, but Quinones was somebody that Mickey Fine pointed out. Said he's the guy that fires off the ball so much defensively. He is perhaps the best player in his eyes on the Dartmouth D.
Yeah, and if you can get a guy like that that's almost unblockable, you can wreak havoc.
And 9 tackles against Yale earlier this season.
Big 3rd down here.
Looking to get to the 31. It's 3rd and 3. Dartmouth showing 4 rushers. They do. Craig has time over the middle. He completes it. Down to the 46-yard line goes Logan Reska. Reska making a catch for the 2nd time today, and a big pickup for the Crimson of 13 yards.
Yeah, we talked about Logan earlier. Big, strong, physical tight end. His dad is, I believe, an officer in the Marine Corps, and really amazing family. Tough kid.
Barely fits into his jersey at 6'5", 260 as well. Don't know if they make one bigger for him or if he wants one. Craig goes down. It's Janaris coming in on the quarterback takedown. 3rd sack for Dartmouth today.
Well, again, didn't see that coming. Had good protection. Harvard's had good protection throughout the day, and again, seeing such a revitalized, very high character profile from this Dartmouth defense in the 2nd half.
Well, the only good news for Harvard out of that is that it came on 1st down, so they've got a couple of downs to try and make up 17 yards. Bascon in the backfield with Craig. They fake the give to him. Craig scrambles to the outside. He's going to try with his legs, and he'll be pushed out at the 42. It's only a 3-yard gainer.
Yeah, good coverage. Good secondary and under coverage by Dartmouth there. Nobody really open. And this is going to be a very challenging 3rd down.
Harvard has been outstanding on 3rd down today, 8 of 11, but this is 3rd and 14. Dartmouth fans making some noise after they had nothing to cheer about in the first half. Craig over the middle. He's got a wide open Dean Boyd, upended at the 40, but it's a Harvard 1st down.
You know, we haven't heard a lot from Dean Boyd in a while, but I remember when he was a freshman coming out of Ohio, had a lot of big-time skills. And I'm glad to see it come to fruition for him as a senior here. He's been a very important part of this offense.
Craig hung in there and fired a 19-yard bullet to Boyd, the senior from Boardman, Ohio. Guy that they were relying on to step up after the losses at receiver a year ago. And with that, Harvard will have some offensive momentum heading into the fourth quarter. The Big Green were blanked in the first half, but 10 points in the third quarter have made it a one-touchdown game through 3.
At Harvard, I choose to embrace my passions, whatever they may be. At Harvard, I don't have to choose between fencing and music. I don't have to choose between academics and athletics. At Harvard, I choose to excel in both.
Being at an Ivy League school, it certainly is more than possible to be both an exceptional student as well as excel in the sport that you choose to pursue.
I get to sit in a classroom with wrestlers who go compete at a national level, hockey players who are making it to championships. To watch them succeed, at a national level, it's pretty incredible.
I don't think I would be where I'm at if I went anywhere else. It's been really fun for me to just challenge myself and make it to those events and perform and show people that Princeton is a good golf school and you can come here and have all your dreams come true.
Very fulfilling, very rewarding. I feel like you're at a world-class level in multiple fields.
All these schools have been around for a while. Just kind of getting to see Ivy League put on a national stage is just very, very cool to me.
But now I think people are paying a lot more attention to what the Ivy League is capable of and putting some more respect on the league.
There's been a lot of success in the Ivy League, and the Ivy League is going to be on the big stage more and more often, and I'm excited for that.
Welcome back inside Harvard Stadium, and something that we've heard from head coach Andy Orrick week after week for this Crimson team is execute. It's something that they always want to try and do, and something that they use in game that all teams have the ability to, but this Harvard team really enjoys using the technology that is offered to them. Now, it's these iPads that they're able to use. Now, the moment that Jaden Craig didn't execute and threw that interception just a few plays ago, he immediately ran to the sidelines and picked up the iPad. He went frame by frame, play by play to see what went wrong. And because they don't have to guess, they can actually see. It's something that Andy Orrick says really calms down his team, so they're able to play even keel. That's something what he always wants them to do, so they really rely on being able to use that technology in game. And he says, although all teams have the ability to do it and use it very frequently, this team in particular seems to really thrive when they're able to get the solution in the moment and then move on to the next play.
First play out of the timeout, they reverse it to Cam Henry, but that didn't fool Dartmouth at all. Into the waiting arms of Jamal Cooper. And to Amanda's point, the ability to stay locked in and not only have to rely on what your coaches say. I'm sure at times during your coaching career, Coach, you wish that you could have had that ability to say, hey, just look at this, and all of a sudden the guy is refocused.
Refocus is good.
It was a 1-yard gainer for Henry. And they fake the handoff, swing it to Henry this time, and he'll make his way forward to the 31-yard line. It's a 7-yard pickup. Third down upcoming.
Yeah, third down here. Obviously want to move the chains. If they don't, I would not expect them to kick the field goal here. I thought think they'll be aggressive and try to keep this drive alive.
Looking to get to the 29-yard line. 2 receivers left for Craig. Caden Kaufman in motion. Fake the handoff. Craig springs out. Still looking for it, and he'll just go out of bounds, forced out by Nico Schleichel. And that looked like a rare bad decision for Craig to not unload that football.
Yeah, I think he may have been not sure where he was there, but obviously put in a position here where you have to punt the football.
Well, they have Craig out there. Now, Craig has punted the ball a couple of times this season. They are giving the appearance that they'll go for it on 4th down.
Not happening.
He'll take the snap. He's not punting. Again, he's looking to run. Defense closes in. He completes it, and he's right at the marker, and a late flag comes in.
Well, I'll tell you what, kudos to the coaching staff to make that decision. I'm not sure I would have bet the farm on it, and it's gonna move the chains here.
And the penalty might be for a late hit. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, this one's gonna go against them. Yep. Okay, big momentum swing here.
As Jamal Cooper, who was coming in from his cornerback position, and in addition to picking up the first down with the pass, they're going to tack on 15 more, but this is pretty special play, and I think a pretty questionable penalty, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it was close, but in that situation, I think you've got to pull off there.
The ruling on the field is a completed catch for first down. The previous plays under further review for potential targeting foul.
So they're going to check it for targeting, and we'll get another look at it, obviously, but it seemed like...
I think it's a little closer than we think. I think it's a little closer than we think. And especially, protecting the quarterback, if you end up hitting, up inside the chin, then...
I thought the contact came more so from his hands than from the crown of his helmet, but we'll get another look as they slow it down. As our replay official is Carlton Derrick. He'll be the one who makes the call there on the bottom left of your screen, leaning in to get the look. And, at my glance, it looked like he got him up by the high chest there with his hands, and maybe it was late enough to warrant the initial penalty. At least that's how the officials saw it, but obviously they try and bend over backwards to protect the quarterbacks.
No, I think you got it just right there. He came and hit him hard, but he worked really hard to not hit him. Yeah. Good job by the officials.
So it'll be no targeting, but roughing the passer. They'll keep the penalty, but no targeting, and that's the right call as far as that's concerned. It's up for debate whether or not you consider that to be penalty worthy to begin with, but the pass was completed for a first down. It tacks on another 15 yards, though, and Dartmouth will try and keep Harvard out of the end zone.
Big momentum swing here.
Craig.
Throwback.
He's going over the middle to his tight end, Reska, and he waltzes into the end zone. And Jaden Craig stands alone as the Harvard record holder for career touchdown passes.
Well, I know the Reska family in upstate New York are very happy about that. Yeah, he's a great kid, great addition to the program, and love having the big guy.
Second career touchdown catch for Reska. He also had one against Holy Cross, and that's number 42 for Jaden Craig. He moves past one of your former quarterbacks, Neil Rose, for the most touchdown heaves in Harvard history.
Yeah, good call by Mickey Fine and great execution by the quarterback.
And a great response for Harvard. After Dartmouth scored 10 in a row, Harvard gets 7 more on the board. The lead is 2 touchdowns with 12:47 to go in the fourth.
Football history of both Harvard, Yale, and Fenway Park colliding today.
The Harvard and Yale folks don't refer to this as a big game. They call it the game.
At Harvard, I choose to embrace my passions, whatever they may be. At Harvard, I don't have to choose between fencing and music. I don't have to choose between academics and athletics. At Harvard, I choose to excel in both.
So here it was. After the penalty was changed to a roughing the passer, Jaden Craig wasted no time as he found his tight end Logan Reska for his 3rd touchdown pass of the day and his 42nd career touchdown. And Jaden passes Neil Rose, who was a great quarterback for you. What do you remember about coaching Rose back in the day in his career?
Well, one thing I remember is one of the few Hawaii kids that we've ever recruited, and I didn't get a chance to go on that trip. But be that as it may, one of the great quarterbacks not only in Harvard history, but of Ivy League history, and that was validated by his induction into the Harvard Athletic Hall of Fame. And folks, that's among 42 Division I varsity sports. Great kid, great player, and so happy to... So I'm not happy to see someone surpass him, or he may not, but that's the way it goes. When you're in company with guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick and you're in company with guys like Neil Rose, then you're going places.
Well, and Jaden Craig is going to need to really pile it on over these last 3 weeks if he's going to catch the all-time Ivy League record in touchdowns. Coach James Perry down in Brown, 74, so really speaks to Coach Perry's career.
Yeah, I think that he wouldn't trade that for all the wins that he has, though.
Well, Jaden Craig is certainly happy to see his team up 2 touchdowns. Now, Dartmouth has scored on each of its last 2 possessions as they take over at the 25, and Grayson Saunier will try and get them a little closer as that's caught by Lemon, and he'll be 2 yards shy of the first down. Good pickup as Austin Guillory was there in coverage.
Obviously, a lot of football still to play, but there's very few defensive coordinators that make adjustments better than Scott Larkey.
Handoff goes to Cruther, and he'll be met by Christian Nulosu, a sophomore from Houston, helping make the stop. Jack Donahoe was there as well, and you figure you give it to Cruther on 2nd and 2. No doubt he's going to get it, but only got 1. It's 3rd and less than 1.
Okay, seeing some tempo
They'll try it again. Cruther, Ty Bartram was first to meet him, and the initial spot is going to be right at the line.
We got a man down here.
Oh, that's Corbo. Corbo's on the turf, and he's grabbing at his right ankle. And that is concerning on more than one level here for Dartmouth. So we'll step aside while they look at the star tight ends. It's 4th and 1 coming up for Dartmouth after this. Harvard up 24-10. There's a 4th down coming up, but the key thing on this graphic, Coach, Dartmouth 60 points in the 4th quarter through their first 6 games. They have been a 4th quarter team. That's been their highest scoring quarter, and they're going to need one of those big 4th quarters to come back here tonight.
Yeah, they've responded. Their kids are playing hard. They're playing well. They're executing. You know, Harvard's got to keep moving the ball, put some more points on the board, but obviously a big 4th down here, and I think it's an easy decision.
4th and 1. A quarterback sneak, and Saunier didn't get the push he needed. First indication, they didn't get it. It's Harvard football.
Great job by the defensive line. Never gave an inch. Wow.
And the celebration, you would have thought the Ivy League was clinched on that play.
That is a huge play, momentum-wise, and field position as well.
Another look here. Boy, the one guy I'm seeing who immediately blew off the ball and blew that up was Xavier Agostino, the senior from Smyrna, Georgia. He's a beast at 6'2", 285. He changed his body. He lost a lot of weight in the offseason and is now more chiseled than the 305 that he played with a year ago.
And apparently it paid off.
That strength helped beat the interior of that Dartmouth offensive line. Now Jaden Craig to throw. Hit, he throws downfield. He's got Gil Martin. A touchdown! 4-touchdown day for Jaden Craig.
Great call by Mickey Fine. Great route and perfect throw. Made it look easy.
And what a change in momentum. Dartmouth going forward on 4th down. They don't get it. And immediately Craig strikes Second touchdown catch of the day for Gil Martin.
Well, always glad to see those tight ends get in the end zone.
That ties a career high in touchdown passes for Craig, as the point after is good from Kieran Core. He's been perfect today. And all of a sudden, a moment ago it was a 7-point game, and now it's a 21-point lead for the Crimson. They say the fourth quarter is our quarter.
Well, they've got it right.
Two minutes ago, the sun just set in Cambridge. It may have also just set on Dartmouth's chances in this one, as Harvard leads 31-10. And if this result holds over the 11 minutes remaining, Crimson would be 7-0 for the first time in a decade, when it's fourth in a row over Dartmouth. And that note at the bottom, the most important, would keep Harvard a game clear of the rest of the Ancient Eight.
Very impressive on many levels.
Luke Reeves is back to receive the kickoff. Kieran Core has mostly made them a formality. They've either been fair caught or gone in through the end zone. And this one will be fair caught near the goal line. So to the 25-yard line, let's go down to our sideline reporter, Amanda Keene.
Hey, Alex. Well, you just saw a few plays ago Chris Corbu go down, the talented player for the Big Green. He went into the medical tent, but they taped him up, and he ran out, albeit hopped out, all taped up with his helmet on. So he wants to play, guys.
He would be he's a big loss at tight end, not just in terms of his athleticism, but his leadership and his character.
So that's great to see him back out there. It looks not very pretty when the initial reaction happened, as Sanye in trouble, and he'll go nowhere. It's Nwosu. Bringing him back to the 16-yard line, a 9-yard loss on the sack. And Christian Nwosu, he was a guy who players on the Harvard offense and training camp pegged him as the guy. By the end of the season, he'll be leading us in sacks. And well, he's closing in on Alex DeGreek's team lead.
Pretty impressive for a kid who's only a sophomore.
So on 2nd and 19, Sanye, he'll run for it. He's got room and slides out across the 25. He'll be marked down at the 26-yard line. So he picks up that sack yardage back and then some. And it's 3rd and 9 coming up for Dartmouth. They've got to hurry down 3 touchdowns. Very interesting contrast to how Princeton handled being in this same spot a week ago against Harvard. As Saunier flushed out, still looking downfield, throws high, and O'Bara can't make the circus grab.
Obviously tough going to your right, throwing back inside.
Oh, O'Bara, it looked like he had a good chance on it. He tipped it up. He was down on the ground, but couldn't make the spectacular catch. And Dartmouth on 4th and 9. They're forced to go for it all the way at their own 26. No question, if you want to come back, you can't give the ball back to Harvard without a fight on this part of the field, as Lemon makes the great grab on 4th down, out to the 40-yard line, a 14-yard pickup. And as they'll go no huddle, Saunier quickly gets the snap. Looking right, has a little bit of time, now offloads it. Oh, and getting smashed was Jackson. Swallowed up by Zayden Benson, and it's a loss. Going back 5 yards to the 35. They now mark it at the 36. And boy, defense for Harvard swarming. Saunier on 2nd and 14, sitting back and gets swallowed up again. This time it's Josh Fedd. And this drive has been, boy, a step forward, a step back right now for Dartmouth.
Well, for a defensive line, they're in hog heaven here. You know, they know exactly what you're going to get. They know they can put their ears back and go, and that's exactly what's happening. They're starting to collapse the pocket.
3rd and 22. Big Green need to get to midfield. Here comes the blitz. Saunier floats one over the middle. Lemon makes the catch, and Benson and Dillian Bradley will bring him down. And at the 44-yard line, the clock stops. I didn't see a timeout. I don't know why they stopped the clock, and now they will get it going again. So Dartmouth was just given a few extra ticks here. It is 4th down again. Saunier, 18 of 31, 200 yards in the air. Another 4th down try over the middle, and it's incomplete. Intended for Lemon. And Dartmouth 1 for 2 on 4th down on this drive.
Well, great job by the defense. Obviously, you know, you've got obvious.
And so now we have a chance. Let's check in with Amanda.
Well, I got to tell you guys, if you want to know what the feeling is here on this Harvard sideline, it is relaxed. Jaden Craig had his helmet off for a moment, although he is back out on the field, and was signing autographs for some kids who are hanging over the side of Harvard Stadium, asking him for autographs. He's calm, cool, collected, and even took a moment to acknowledge some kids in the stands, guys.
That is something that the Harvard coaches point is a real strength of Craig and the team as DJ Gordon churns to the 41-yard line. You know, Andy Orrick says, that's how I want them to be. Not too high, not too low, able to lock it in, and it serves them well when they get a little bit of pushback in the start of this second half. They don't panic.
Well, it's never over till it's over, but they have this game in hand, and the big thing is burn the clock and try to put points on the board.
And some of the Dartmouth fans trying to beat the traffic as they see their team down by 21 points and the quarter nearing its midway point in the 4th. And Harvard will look to run this clock out.
Literally.
They've got the backs to do it. They did it in the last 3 minutes last week against Princeton, as this will get a little bit of an extra push here. And boy, it's a tough man to bring down, DJ Gordon. It was surprising last week against Princeton. The Tigers were down by the same margin. They were down 21 points, and there were 9 minutes left when Princeton got the ball back. They went on a long drive. At one point, they ran it 7 consecutive times. They ate up 6 minutes of clock, elected not to really push the issue, and Harvard saw it as waving the white flag in that game. a totally different approach here from Dartmouth. They showed the desperation going for it deep in their own end on 4th down.
Yeah, I was very surprised by that philosophy last week. I don't necessarily think it sends a great message to your players, but I guess it's not that simple.
Might have been trying to get out of that game as healthy as possible, knowing that Harvard was a boulder running downhill. That's what they've been here again today, is they lead by 21, and they'll get 3 on 3rd and 1, and undoubtedly will be going forward on 4th down. That was Bascon with the short carry. So how about Jaden Craig signing autographs mid-game? There's a guy who isn't too worried about distractions in a rivalry game against an Ivy opponent.
I don't think when I played college football anybody ever asked for my autograph.
Still waiting for my first as well. So from the 35-yard line, it's 4th and 1. Bascon to the right of Craig. He gets it, shakes off a tackler. He's got the first down inside the 30, down the sideline, trying to stay in bounds, though it doesn't matter when you're on this side of 5 minutes. Clock will continue to roll momentarily, and it's a big pickup of 17 yards, make it 18 yards for Bascon.
Well, again, a deep group at running back, big group at tailback, and we're all getting a chance to play. They all have different things that they bring to the game, and you know, Hex is he's always just had a great feel for where to move the football to when he's got the ball in his hands. He's patient. He's a lot stronger and more physical than people think, and he's one of the nicest kids around.
He'll get it again, and over that left side. Boy, another positive run down to the 10-yard line. 7 yards for Bascon. He now has 48 yards on 8 carries. That's better than 6 yards per carry. Right at 6 yards per carry. And you know, we highlighted him at the top of the broadcast, but they've got such a balanced group that they don't need to run Exavea Bascon into the ground, and that is certainly intentional for Harvard. They want to make sure that he is as fresh as he can be for the important games down the stretch as he was for the first games of the season.
And it keeps fresh legs in the game and keeps everybody happy. It's a bit of a luxury for a lot of teams, but it works really well for this group.
Ticking down toward 4 minutes. They wait as long as they can to snap it, and DJ Gordon getting the call will push forward and have another Harvard first down.
I think DJ Gordon out of that group is the guy who surprised most people. He was the guy that wasn't probably in the top 3, top 4 at the beginning of the season, but very powerful. It's kind of like Thunderbolt and Lightfoot when you got him and X in there.
You bring up those nicknames, it brings me back to Aaron Shamplin and Aiden Bourget. What a duo you had there.
Oh, I'll tell you what, those guys made us good coaches.
Well, there are a lot of guys making folks on the Harvard sideline good coaches. They're good coaches already, but goodness, 3.5 to go. Harvard first and goal from the 6. It's Gordon again. He won't be able to break out of that tackle as Joshua Johnson, he's played well on that defensive line today for Dartmouth, pushes back the Crimson a yard, and Bascon will come in for Gordon. Harvard will bring in the extra offensive line with Enzo Augustini, excuse me. Well, this is shaping up with 3 minutes to go to be another one of these games, and Harvard, they were pushed certainly at times here today, but you look at all the final scores this season, and they've all been lopsided.
And that's why they're going to move up. They're going to move up in the FCS Division I rankings.
Dartmouth, the team that's been receiving votes in both of those polls, as Bascon will only make his way back toward the 5-yard line, sets up for a third down. And, you know, the one critique you could make of this Harvard team is something they can't control, which is the schedule they've played. There hasn't been another team that is in the rankings in the Ivy League, and the non-conference they played a down Holy Cross year. Merrimack's been up and down, and they played a Stetson team that is totally rebuilding. But when you beat every team on your schedule by at least 3 touchdowns, what more can you do? And that's certainly what Harvard's argument is going to be.
Well, if Harvard is fortunate enough to go to the playoffs, and I think they should be and will be, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people.
Well, they call this part of the schedule for Harvard the gauntlet typically, and they will go on the road for 2 of their last 3 games. That has been no problem for Harvard. Coach, as you can see, 4th best winning percentage in all of Division I on the road since 1996. I think that was your 3rd season at the helm, and this is not just FCS. You see Ohio State and Georgia on that list. Harvard right there, 4th best road winning percentage in Division I. Incredible.
Yeah, if my math is correct, that's out of 265 Division I FCS and FBS teams. I didn't know that, but that's very impressive. Says a lot about the character of the kids you recruit.
See, they've got a nationally televised game at Columbia on Friday, back home against Penn 2 weeks from today, and then the game at the Bowl on November 22nd. It's 3rd and goal for Harvard from the 6. And they are trying to get a cherry on top here. Jaden Craig has thrown 4 touchdown passes. That equals his career best. It is the 4th time he's done that. And he won't get a chance here. He'll hand it off, and Jordan Harris will make it as far as the 3. 4th down coming up, and we'll see what Andy Orrick decides to do, kick it or run one more play. The game no longer in doubt, and the clock runs.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they didn't run the play.
Yep, they'll go for it. And Craig will have Exavea Bascon there. He's got 3 wide receivers. The Harvard record for touchdown passes in a game is 5, so with 1 here, Craig could match that feat. Again, bleeding that clock. He'll look for the end zone. He throws for the end zone, and it's incomplete. That close, to matching the Harvard record for touchdown passes in a game. Ryan Osborne was the intended target, and Dartmouth will get it at their own 3-yard line.
I was rooting for Oz. He hadn't got many opportunities tonight, but he's an amazing kid. He's a walk-on kid. He was valedictorian of his class, and I had the honor of sending a recommendation for him for the highest academic award. Not a perfect throw, not a perfect catch. Great kid.
Campbell Award semifinalist, what you're referring to. By the way, those 5 touchdowns, Carol Lowenstein back in 1953, along with Colton Chappell, Collier Winters, and Tom Stewart. He did it most recently. Tom did against Columbia in 2018.
That's quite a group of quarterbacks.
How about going all the way back to the 1953 season, before the Ivy League formally existed? I don't know how many 5-touchdown pass games. Some teams probably didn't throw 5 passes in a game back then.
Yeah, the math doesn't seem to work, does it?
Dartmouth will likely run one more play, and for the Big Green, this was a big test for them today, coming off their biggest margin of victory since 2013. And they were unable to continue the momentum. They had a spurt of 10 points in the third quarter, but the fourth quarter belonging to Harvard after it had belonged to Dartmouth for much of this season. That will likely be the final play of the game, a record-setting day for Harvard and its quarterback, Jaden Craig. The Crimson will move to 7-0 and stay first place all by its lonesome in the Ancient Eight at 4-0, and Dartmouth will see its second league loss and its second loss overall, falling to 5-2 and 2-2. We've seen 2-loss teams get shares of Ivy titles each of the last couple of seasons. Dartmouth not out of it, but nobody looks like they can hang with Harvard for 60 full minutes. At least nobody's done it 70% of the way through the regular season.
Yeah, as we talk about it, it's one day at a time, not just one game at a time, but this is as good a football team Harvard's had in a long time.
And with this win, they become the first Ivy League team to win 300 conference games. This was their 300th Ivy League victory in program history. Oh, and by the way, the first 7-0 start in a decade. 2 incredible numbers.
Pretty amazing for sure.
Coming from the Ivy League's all-time winningest head coach to my left, you were involved in a significant number of those Ivy League wins, and guy who's been involved in so many of them. We'll hear from him now as the current head coach for Harvard. Andy Orrick got his team ready to go once again for this game today. And what can you say about the job Harvard did? Andy Orrick said this game is all about Dartmouth's simplicity. We need to do simple better than they do simple. And it feels like they accomplished that today.
They certainly did, and again, this particular team reminds me of Ryan Fitzpatrick's team as a senior. They were first in offense, first in defense, first in special teams, led every single category, which is really hard to do, even if you're the best team in the league. But for a lot of different reasons, and certainly the quarterbacks, it brings it back to that team.
So today, Harvard, with their production, 432 yards, Dartmouth 261. Dartmouth averaged just over 4 yards a play, Harvard over 6.5 yards per play, and they took this game over after Dartmouth made them sweat a little bit, scoring 10 straight points. But no doubt the fearless leader, Andy Orrick, was ready to make adjustments and ready to inspire his troops. We'll find out how he did so with Amanda.
Coach, I got to ask you, that third quarter to the fourth quarter seemed like a big transition for this Harvard team. You really busted it out there. What was the difference after that third quarter?
I mean, it was nothing different other than I know these guys, they're not shaken. They're cool, calm, and collected at all times. So it was just a matter of time. We just had to go back out and execute. We kind of defied some of the rules of football today. Turn the ball over and not creating any takeaways and still winning how we did. So it's a tribute to these guys. They just go about their business one play at a time. It's fun to coach them. It's
something you talked about all week with us, that you like that they play so calm. I was on the sideline. It seemed like everyone just had everything under control. Is that something that you felt as well?
Yeah, for sure. Because when you get to the sideline, it's another meeting on the field. You're just going through what just happened on the previous drive, making corrections, and going back out. It's ready to execute. So it's unbelievable over there. I've never seen anything like it, actually.
And I got to ask you about your quarterback here, Jaden Craig. Putting his name in the record books for career passing touchdowns. What did you see from him today?
Yeah, he had some unbelievable throws that I've actually never seen before. A lot of fun to be around him. He's a great young man, and he put a lot of work in this offseason, so I'm just so happy for him that he's having all the success he's had so far.
Congrats, Coach. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Amanda, and we're going to keep you busy because Jaden Craig is over to your left. He's going to come right in. So let's go right back to you, Amanda. Man of the hour with you.
Jaden, you passed and became the career leader for passing touchdowns for Harvard football. What does that mean to you to have your name atop of a record like that?
A legendary program, something that I'm super proud of. Didn't really think about it coming into this game. I'm not really worried about stats. I'm more worried about wins. But, it's definitely special, especially given, this is the first game I started in as a sophomore and, when I took over. So this game just means a little something to me as well. So, yeah.
That's something that Coach Murphy and Alex talked about quite a bit on this broadcast, his decision to bring you in 2 years ago and now to see where you've gotten to today. How much did this game really change your trajectory?
I mean, tenfold. I can't really put it to words. I'm just so thankful that Murphy trusted me at the time. And, I was always raised, whenever you get your opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. And I did. And, now I'm here. So I'm happy.
Thank you very much. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thanks, Amanda. Coach, thoughts on what you just heard from a guy you recruited and then inserted into this game 2 years ago?
Yeah, again, it was not an easy decision because of the quality of kid intangibly that we were replacing with upperclassmen. But again, if you look back on the history of Harvard football, the guy he reminds me most of is Ryan Fitzpatrick. Height, weight, can make all the throws, a great leader, doesn't talk a whole lot, just goes out and gets it done. And, just such a great kid beyond the unbelievable skills. And I do believe that he can be an NFL player someday.
Well, you see the final numbers here. Harvard dominating time of possession, third down, 60%. They turn the tables on Dartmouth, and the Big Green, despite getting those 2 interceptions of Craig, were not able to turn that into a little bit more, and they fall today as Harvard wins it 31-10 over the Big Green. Well, that was a game for Harvard that they were hoping for. It's never easy in these rivalry games and in the Ivy League, and it wasn't easy today despite the final score being what it was. Harvard jumped out to a 17-0 lead. Dartmouth clawed back to make it 17-10, but the Crimson could not be denied. 4 touchdown passes today for Jaden Craig, 2 to Seamus Gilmartin, 1 to Brady Blackburn, and the one that broke the Harvard touchdown record, Logan Reska, made that catch to give Craig his 42nd career touchdown score. Well, great job by our crew here today. For my broadcast partners, Tim Murphy and Amanda Keene, this is Alex Vespoli saying so long from Tim Murphy Field at Harvard Stadium. The final score, Harvard 31, Dartmouth 10. This game has been a presentation of ESPN.